gotta sit up for this. We're back.
We're back.
We're back and better than ever.
We've been doing this podcast for a month now. That's crazy.
That is crazy. Feeling good, looking good, loving it. Hi, y'all. This is Can I Be Mean for a Sec? I'm your host, Maggie. I'm here with our other host, my best friend, Ella.
Hello.
And today, we're talking about cars. What cars we have, what cars we like, what cars we don't like, what your car says about you. While I have some opinions, I have learned that Ella has way more. I didn't even know that you had thoughts on cars like this.
Quick disclaimer for our listeners. I am not a car junkie. I know nothing about cars. I just strictly go off the vibes. I don't know anything about makes and models. I don't know any vintage cars. I do not understand different types of engines. I know what the difference between an 8 and 6 is, but that's about it. So please, disclaimer, this is just off of vibes.
Wait, so you would, like, if you were, like, out and about and, like, 10 cars drove by and, like, 10, like, standard, regular, everyday, current-ish, like, last 10 years or so cars drove by, you wouldn't be able to tell what make and model those cars are?
No.
I would know.
I would know the
you were saying
difference between a Honda and a Toyota. I know what all the emblems are. I know what a make and model is of a car, but I'm not up to speed on which is the best model of this and that. So
Oh yeah, but like if you saw like a Camry and a Corolla drive past, like you could tell the difference.
yes, I could tell the difference between a Camry and a Corolla.
Okay. Because there are people out there who don't know that, right? Like, I will say something about, like, you know, a Toyota Camry or a Honda Civic or whatever, and there are people out there that don't know, like, what that is. There are people who do not log that information in their noggins. I was with my mom one time, and I saw a car, and it was an Acura, and I recognized the logo, right? But for the life of me, I could not remember the word name. I was like, oh, that's the logo for that car. I knew it started with an A. And so I tried to ask my mom. I was like, what's that? It's kind of like two skinny diamonds. Has like a line in between. It's a name. It's not like Arcadia or Acadia because that's like a GMC car, but like it's a car brand. And it took 3 days for us to figure out what this was called. And she was suggesting everything. She's like, is it a Chevy? I was like, no, Kelly, I know what a Chevy is. Like, I know what, like, these logos look like. We're going through, like, all of the car brands except for Acura. It took literally 3 days. So then after this, for the next 6 months, when we were in the car, I'd just be like, hey, Kelly, you see that? That's a Chevy. You see that car? That's a Ford. You see that one? That's a Honda. Because she was giving me, like, why are you giving me car brands that I know? Like, give me something that I don't see every day. Give me something that nobody in my family drives. But yeah.
So I am super passionate about types of cars on the street. And I think this stemmed from 2 things. One, my family and I name our cars. We have named our cars since my sister was little because she named my dad's Mercedes the fastest car. And we still have that car. It's still its name, the fastest car. The fastest car. She was 2 or 3. It's the fastest car. And we still call it the fastest car. So we had since named all of our cars. When I was around 6 years old, we were such big fans of the Disney, I think it's a Disney Channel movie with Lindsay Lohan, Herbie Fully Loaded. And it's a sequel to the original Herbie movies. If you're not familiar with Herbie is a 1960s Volkswagen Bug that is a race car and is a fully autonomous car with its own heart and soul and loves to race. And it is one of my favorite movies. Super underrated. Love Lindsay Lohan. But where we lived at the time, there were so many Volkswagen Bugs. We just called them the Herbie cars. So then we came up with, instead of Punch Buggy, it was the Herbie game. And so you would get 1 point if you saw a modern Herbie. You would get 2 points if you saw an older Herbie. You'd get 5 points if it had a decal on it. And then there was one Volkswagen Bug in a very specific neighborhood on a very specific route we would drive home that in their driveway had the decked out 53 logo Herbie. And if you saw that car anywhere out and about, you instantly won the game. So instead of Punch Buggy, we had the Herbie game. I think it was a safe way for my mom to play Punch Buggy without us punching each other, because my sister and I did like to fight each other as small children, as most siblings typically do.
Same. And then my mom wouldn't let us. And then she was like, if you guys were boys, you would just like hit each other and get over it. And I'm like, you won't let us hit each other. She was like, that's because you guys would hit each other and not get over it. And I was like, you don't know that. Maybe if we hit each other, we'd get over it. Anyways.
But so yeah, that did stem us also like continuing to name our cars. So growing up, my dad had 2 different BMWs. One of them was named Crunchy because it was old and beat up, very well loved car, and we called it Crunchy for the longest time. And then my mom had a black Navigator. I don't think that car ever had a name. If I do, I don't remember. But those were the 2 cars that I remember we started with. And then my dad got a new BMW that we just call it the new car. And it was the new car for so long.
Okay.
Then
these are not names. These are titles.
But still, it we'd never called it like dad's car, mom's car. No, it was new car. All right, we're taking new car. Okay. And it was new car for years. Then my mom traded her black Navigator for a white Navigator, and that was called the Tank, and that has been the Tank since it died. Then my dad had another car between the BMW and our Prius, and I can't remember what that car was because it was such a short amount of time.
I forgot y'all had a Prius.
So that car, clearly it was very unrememberable. We didn't name it. We didn't have it very long. We got the Prius, and my mom named it the Penguin because she just became like everybody else in Southern California, and she bought a Prius.
I don't think that's Southern California. I think that's all of California. My conspiracy theory is that every family in California that owns a car has to own at least a Prius. And I say this because every single family that I know in California owns a Prius. If you live in California and you don't or have not ever owned a Prius, do not tell me. This dream will live forever.
So that car that my dad had in between us buying the Prius and his and new car BMW. So don't remember that car, but then we sold it and bought the Jeep. And our red Jeep is still kicking today. His name is Clifford, the little red Jeep. Because he's just a 2-door and he's bright spanking red and the cutest thing ever. Well, I love Clifford. Clifford, little red Jeep. Our Prius then got sold to get our first Tesla. And that Tesla, my dad named Big Boy. Yeah, so then Big Boy got totaled. Someone T-boned my sister. Not a fun time. We now have a black Tesla that's just called Shamu because it looks like Shamu the orca. I learned how to drive in the Prius. I then had my mom's Navigator, the Tank, for about 2 years, and then my sister got her license, and the only car that she felt comfortable driving was the Tank, so the Tank became hers. Moved out to Oklahoma, and my mom helped me buy my first ever car, and I had my Jeep Cherokee that I named Baymax, and I loved that car with my entire soul. I know
Baymax.
It was my favorite car. It was very much a me car. Anytime driving around, everybody knew that was my car. It was not flashy by any means. It's a 2006 Jeep Grand Cherokee with deer bumpers on it. And everybody knew it was my car. It's very much an Ella car. Poor Baymax had some oil issues that it wasn't leaking oil, but it would burn oil so quickly. So I had been working on that car all through college and into when I graduated. The mechanics that I worked with were super, super helpful of getting me to understand the process and just keeping up with it, making sure that I never let the oil dip below a certain point, how to check my oil regularly, how to change it myself if I ever needed to. I always kept quarts of oil in my trunk. God forbid that I was
You
having a
had a
burnout.
you had a whole crate full of car stuff. You had all kinds of stuff. You had multiple quarts of oil. I have interacted with the Baymax crate more than once.
Yeah, the Baymax crate had multiple quarts of oil. I had jumper cables. I had a strap to help me open the oil pipe. I don't know what it's called, the valve to put the oil in, because it was always so hot and then it would seal really tight. So I had like a jerry rig strap to help me with leverage to open it. What else did I keep in there? I had lots of cleaner because it was a fabric car and I was working out obviously for practice. I was driving around my teammates and we're all sweaty. So, fabric seats and sweat don't really mix very well. So I did scrub the heck out of that at least once a month.
It was very clean for both how old it was and the fact that there were a bunch of sweaty college kids in it all the time.
Oh yeah. Well, there were holes in the floors of it too. Like in the driver's seat under the floor mat, there just was a hole that you could see the bottom of the car. So I had a plank there for a while on under the floor mat, so I just never accidentally put my foot through the car. I've let my friends borrow it while I was home for the summer and then there was one time I road tripped that car from Oklahoma back home and shocked that that car made it all the way there and all the way back with no problems. And then I moved.
Yeah, same.
When I moved to Texas after graduation.
We couldn't even take him down to Austin without having to add more oil in. We made it to Waco, which isn't that bad, but not great.
Yeah. Well, at that point, because I had left the car with you for the summer before I started my new job. And so just if it's not being driven for X amount of time, because all of my stuff was in it anyways, it would make sense that we needed to. And yeah, but that was the start of Baymax reaching its final leg in life. I wish that if Baymax could have passed the California smog test, I would still be driving Baymax to this day. I loved that car with my whole heart. It was a super safe, easy car to drive. I took such good care of it for 6 years. And it was a very old car. It was a pain in the butt to take care of, but I took such good care of that car. I had such pride in that car. And now I sold it. And now I have my first big girl car, my first big girl purchase, and I've got Basil. I've got a green Subaru, and she is such a fun car. I love her so much. I'm obsessed with her. Every time I take her through the car wash and then I park her out front, I'm like, oh, there she is. She's shining in the sun. She's got such a personality. Every car to me does. And I love that with Basil, she's got the safety feature where if you don't have your seatbelt on, she starts beeping at you. And she, after the first like 30 seconds, she starts beeping at you louder. And so everybody in the car just goes, okay, Basil, I got it.
Yeah, my dad changed cars more frequently than my mom. Not like a whole bunch, but definitely more. And we never named his cars. He had a Durango, an Explorer, a Camry, a Jeep, a 4Runner, a Subaru, and now he has another Jeep. Then my mom did not change cars very often, and we definitely named hers. So when I was born, she had Ol' Messi. And Ol' Messi got her name because she was a Volvo, and when she started, she sounded kind of like she was mooing. And so my mom started calling her Old Bessie because she sounded like a cow. But I was a small child, and I could not say Old Bessie. So I called her Ol' Messi, and that stuck. And we had Ol' Messi for a while. And then I was getting into elementary school, and my mom was like, I need a mom car. So she traded in Ol' Messi. We had a whole ordeal. She was going to get a used Honda Pilot. She ended up getting a new Honda Pilot in 2008. I think that he's blue. Everybody else thought he was gray. I don't know what they were on, but his name was Ed, and we had Ed for a very long time. We had Ed until I was in high school, and then my stepbrother at the time got Ed, drove him. My mom got a Hummer.
Your mom driving a Hummer, that's wild.
Did you not know about this?
No, I didn't.
Oh, yeah, no, my mom had a Hummer for, like, a lot of the time that I was in high school.
That's wild. Knowing your mom, couldn't see it.
So, what had happened was we had had Ed for ages, and Ed was a Honda. And notably, Hondas are not American-made cars because it's, I want to say, a Japanese company. If I'm wrong, don't tell me. Actually, if I am wrong, do tell me, please. But it's not American. And the guy she was married to was very much like, we have to drive American-made cars. Blah, 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 blah. We're not going there. So he had been like trying to convince her to get a Tahoe. And she was like, my dad had a Tahoe. I know that I don't like them because they're top heavy and they feel weird to drive and I don't want one. And so he had a Hummer a bunch of years ago and he really liked it. And they'd stopped making Hummers by this time. I think they stopped making them in like 2010 or 12 or something. He like ended up talking her into it. We went to this car dealership one night and we were in this like big jacked up Chevy 2500 Silverado, like huge truck on a Cadillac dealership lot. And we got there like 20 minutes before they closed. Because we were just driving around the lot. We wanted to see if we could see the Hummer that they had. We weren't going to try to test drive it that night. We get to the gate 15 minutes before they're supposed to be closed. And the gate is locked. We are inside the dealership. The Hummer wasn't even there. And we were locked in the dealership for probably at least an hour. And so, because we had tried calling the dealership, they didn't answer because there was nobody there. But because they weren't officially closed yet, it didn't roll over to like whoever was on call after hours. So it didn't get transferred to anybody either. So then we tried calling a different dealership from like the same group. They couldn't really do much to help us. And then we called the police so the police could like contact the dealership people. And then we knew people who knew family to the company that owned the dealership. So we like tried to call them and see if there was anything that they could do to help us. And then the cop gets there, but the cop's like, I don't have a key. So we're just like calling all of our emergency contacts we have for the dealership. So we hung out there, we chatted with the cop. Eventually the guy shows up. He had like been stuck in traffic and was like trying to turn. It was a whole ordeal, but he got there and he let us out and we like told him that we were coming to look for the Hummer and he was like, oh, it's not here. Like it's getting cleaned, it's getting detailed, whatever. Come back whatever day, we'll have it. We went back, we test drove it. My mom really liked it. So we had the Hummer for a while and then eventually, like after she got divorced, she traded it in. The Hummer's name was Hank, by the way. Hank the Tank. It was an H2, so it was gigantic. I got to drive that car exactly twice. It was a lot. But it was not I would argue it's probably not the most unwieldy car I've ever driven, but it was a lot. And it scared my mom, so she didn't let me drive it. She traded it in for a Nissan for like a month, and she hated it. So she traded the Nissan in for an Audi. And I can't remember what she named the Audi, but then the Audi got 3 recalls in 3 months, and the last one was, hey, this might just catch on fire in your garage, so don't park it there. We don't know how to fix it. And so she said, cool, don't want that. Traded that in for a newer version Honda Pilot, like a 2012. That one had a name too, and I can't remember what it was. It was a dude name, but I can't remember what it was. She didn't like that very much either. Then it got totaled in a hailstorm. She got a Lexus, and then that one just kind of ran its course. May or may not have gotten totaled. Don't remember. Traded it in, and she got a newer version of the same Lexus. She really likes that. One of the Lexuses is named Grace. I don't remember which one. But those are her cars. That was our fun little journey. But my stepbrother at the time they had like a payment plan agreement, didn't get paid. We got Ed back. So I got Ed when I was 16 to drive. And then when I graduated high school as like a graduation gift, my mom was like, I'm giving you the gift of a credit history. So I co-signed on a loan with you to get a car, which is like really good, but also like really kind of like a weird conversation to have in front of your entire family that you only see at like 3 holidays, but whatever. So we went car shopping, and that's when I got Ricky. I loved Ricky.
I love Ricky.
I cried when I had to trade Ricky in. Ricky was a 2012 Toyota RAV4, and I loved her dearly. I'm not good at taking care of cars. I hate going to the car wash, so I didn't. But I drove Ricky out to California one time, and we were coming back, and we were coming down from the mountains. We were still in California, and she ran out of oil on the side of the road, and that's how we found out she had an oil leak, except we got her towed to the Toyota dealership. They were like, that's weird. There wasn't any oil in there, but she just needed an oil change. She doesn't have a leak. And I said, that's not true. But I had found out the night before that I had COVID, so like I really wasn't in the mood. We hightailed it back to Oklahoma. And then after I got over the whole COVID thing, I took it to my mechanic, who notably doesn't usually work on Toyotas. And he was like, this is 100% an oil leak, but it would cost a lot to fix, and it's really tiny. So just put a little bit of extra oil in there every once in a while, and you'll be fine. And I was for, 3 more years? 2 more years? 3 more years? And then one day at work, our accountant friend came in, who also happens to be a car guy, and he was like, hey, all of the oil is just sitting underneath your car out in the parking lot. And so I tried to get my mom to schedule me an appointment with my mechanic, and instead she was like, I just want to see how much it costs to fix. And she's like, no, it's going to cost too much. It's not worth it. You have to get a new car. And I was like, but what if I don't want to? She was like, no, we're going to the dealerships this weekend. And I was like, fine. I'm just going to get a new version of a RAV4. They look cool, and I like my old RAV4, so I'm probably going to like a new RAV4, so it's fine. So it was all I was looking at. I was like, I don't even want to buy a car. Like, I'm not trying to do this right now. So I'm doing that. And my mom does not agree with this approach. Mind you, this is what she did. She just bought a new version of the car she had for her current car. So she has rules for thee, but not for me. And I've told her this. But so she's doing digging on like similarly sized vehicles, and she's like, you need to go test drive a Mazda. I had a Mazda when I was in college, and I loved it. You should go get one. My mom doesn't sound like that. You should go get one. And I was like, well, one of the RAV4s that I found is at the Mazda dealership. So I'll go test drive it there. And then they end up having all the other cars she wanted me to test drive too. So I test drove them all. And unfortunately, she was right. The Mazda was nice. It was only like 2 years old, and it was like the top of the line version, and it was like still in my budget. Don't know what was up with that. This car is so nice. And it was like, it had like all of the like heated seats. It has a heated steering wheel. And I need you to understand, it literally snowed the day after I bought this car. And then I moved to North Carolina, so it's absolutely useless. But at the time, I was living in Oklahoma. I wanted to move north, and I was like, I love a car that can get me through the winter, because, okay, I'll try to cool off in the summer, but I'll be hot in the summer. I don't care. I don't like to be cold. Got this car, love this car, and it was good, because then, 3 months later, I ended up moving halfway across the country and driving her out here. Her name is Elizabeth. And the only problem that I have I have 2 problems with her. One actual problem, she's silver, and I kind of hate it. It's gross. She also has leather seats, which isn't my favorite, but it's fine.
You could totally wrap it. You so could.
Yeah, I know, but that is money that I just don't really want to spend. It's okay. She's silver, and we're living with it. The other thing, and I kind of hate this, but I kind of love this. It has that little heads up thing where it like projects the speed onto the windshield. So I never have to look at the dashboard, which is great. Except for when I run out of gas. I was driving the other day. I was stopped at a stoplight, and I just like glance down and I see all this orange on my dashboard because mine goes orange when I need gas. And I was like, what is this? And it was like, you have 7 miles left. I was like, great. Now I have to find a gas station. At least I wasn't running late. That could have been bad. And then you called me like 3 minutes after I got gas. I love Elizabeth. She's pretty spectacular. I don't usually call her by her name, but she has one. She's great. Junie B likes to hang out in her. She has heated seats in the back. So if I'm leaving Junie B out there in the cold, I can turn on the heated seats for her. Ya girly also doesn't like to be cold. She and I are the same. It's a problem. But anyways, those are all of my cars and all of their names.
Yeah, cars just have such fun personalities, honestly. And it's such a great time, like even seeing my friends like get their new cars too, and the mourning process of like selling or trading in your first car. No, I have not heard enough people talking about it because I was absolutely distraught when I sold Baymax. I have had so many memories in that car, even just fixing it up with all of its problems, but just my that was my entire college career in that car, my first job in that car. I had so many firsts surrounding in that car. And then I just sold him on Facebook Marketplace because I needed the cash to move back home. And he wasn't going to make it back to California. And it was such a sad day.
Alex has a cousin that had told me not long before I traded her in that if I was ever getting rid of Ricky, he would buy her. And I forgot about this when I had to go trade her in. And I had just put new tires on her a month before she died. I did not even get trade-in value for the amount I had spent on the tires. Like, she was toast. She was completely out of oil. When we went car shopping, we did not take her with us. We only brought her down to trade in like once I knew like I wanted that car. And then when we did come to bring her down, Alex was driving her. I was with my mom. He was like, hey, I'm going to be a little bit late. I have to stop at the O'Reilly's because I put oil in, but also now she's out of transmission fluid. And we took her down to the dealership. And by the time that we were inside, talked to the sales guy and walked back outside to see the car, there was a giant puddle underneath her. I was so sad.
That's like when you need to put your dog down and they're just slowly getting worse.
Yeah, and then I saw the cousin like a week later and we were talking about it and he was like, well, what'd you do with your car? And I told him and he was like, I would have paid more than that for that. I was like, she was completely useless. He was like, I don't care. It would have cost less for me to fix her than it would be like for me to like buy her from you and fix her than it would be for me to like go get a new car. So I was like, you're kind of right. And I'm very sorry. And I still kind of regret that a little bit to this day. Loved her.
I know.
I also love Elizabeth, but it's different.
It's so different.
She's nice. Elizabeth's like a nice car. And like I was not prepared. I'm not the kind of person who's like good at like asking for nice things. Like I felt like a crazy person when I went to the car dealership and I said my three things. It needs to be kind of like a small mid-size SUV, kind of that CX-5 CRV RAV4 range. I don't want anything huge. Seat heaters were a must for me. She has seat coolers too, but I don't use those very often. Fabric seats. And unfortunately, they don't make CX-5s with fabric seats, so I did not get that. But
why fabric over leather?
It's really nice. I hate leather. I hate being in I hate leather seats in general. They are not comfortable at all. I especially don't like wearing shorts in leather seats. And as much as I needed a car that would keep me warm in the winter in Oklahoma, Oklahoma summers get hot. And I will be in shorts. I'm wearing shorts right now. It's not even summer. It is like 80 degrees outside, but it's not even summer. I'm not even in Oklahoma. I love shorts. I hate wearing shorts on leather seats. I do it. It's fine. I don't like them.
Yeah, that's fair.
I don't know. Never have. Don't like leather couches. Don't like leather seats. Don't like leather recliners. I just don't like leather seats.
It's really interesting hearing different criteria for buying a new car. So Basil is my first new car. And I was super excited that I was able to be in a position where I could afford to get a brand new car. Such a fun experience that I've been able to do this. And looking through doing my research, my only main criteria for a car was all-wheel drive and decent gas mileage. I didn't need I didn't want to have two-wheel drive just because where I live in Southern California, in the occasions that it rains, it floods. And California drivers in the rain are not a fun time. And it is not the drivers, it's the road conditions. They are not made for rain. They flood horribly.
That is California wide. It's like that up in Oakland too. We were driving on the highway one time in the rain, and everyone was like, someone said something about like California drivers can't drive in the rain, and I was like, that's because y'all don't have drains on your roads. Like,
Yeah.
like why are we driving in like 3 inches of water?
The infrastructure is just not made for if it does rain. And we've had a lot of rain the last 2 years. We've had a lot of flooding the last 2 years. Yeah, so it was very important to me to have all-wheel drive and decent gas mileage. Everything else was just a bonus. I didn't care about needing the heated seats. I didn't care about having a sunroof, the stereo, couldn't care less. I knew that all modern cars were going to come with Bluetooth, potentially CarPlay. I have an iPhone. It's not a big deal to me. So the experience I had getting Basil was I had done all this research and I just decided that a Subaru was going to be the car for me. It visually was appealing. I liked the brand. We've never owned a Subaru, but I was like, might as well be the first. In the occasions that I go up to the mountains, I could be the one that drives in the snow. I know how to drive in the snow. And just all around, it just was everything I needed. And it was going to be just a good experience for me. Of course, I am a woman. I have she, her pronouns. I use she, her pronouns. And dealerships tend to be a little mean and take advantage of a lot of women in buying a car. That may not be the case everywhere, but I've seen enough stories to make sure that I take precautions. So I made sure that my dad went with me to dealerships to look at Subarus, test drive, and then eventually buy my car. My dad's walked me through the process. He's clearly bought multiple cars before. We found a dealership close by that worked with us, worked really well, had great personalities, great sales reps, gave me a really good price on the car. Not like, oh my gosh, go here for the best discounts. No, like they were super reasonable. They understood it was my first time ever buying a new car, walked me through the whole process, like gave me so much time to do quick research for myself. This is what this means. This is how this works. Here's a link. If you want to read up on it, you can take your time. Just so kind. And just having my dad there just made it a little easier. But yeah, I ended up getting the moonroof package, the heated seats. Got the Starlink in the car. The Starlink is honestly really, really cool. And I didn't think I would be using that feature as much as I do. I use it basically every day. I love warming up the car on the way as I'm walking to it in the morning on my way to practice. And especially in the summer, being able to cool off the car and turn on the AC.
Is Starlink just like Subaru's like app thing?
Yeah. Well, Starlink is another system. I'm not entirely sure, but it is called like Subaru Starlink for the remote access to your car on your phone.
Because like there used to be OnStar. I assume it still exists. I don't know. And it was like you'd hit a button and it would like contact emergency. So it kind of worked like AAA where like you push the button and you talk to them and they can like contact emergency services and stuff. And they like monitor your car if it gets stolen. And then because like I know multiple people who drive Subarus and I always see the little like Starlink button or whatever and I don't know what it means. Because Mazda has an app and I don't pay for the subscription so I can't like remotely do my stuff with my car. But my mom has hers with her Lexus and she can like remotely like turn it on and stuff. And that was really nice. We were out there during the snowstorm and we had been in the car warm and then we went home and then I wanted to go back out and get something from OnQ. And I was like, but I don't. The car's going to be cold. And I was like, wait, if we turn it on, then we can. But it wasn't great because my mom can't. It'll like notify my mom if she forgets to lock her car, which is great. Except when we were driving her car, we kept forgetting to lock her car because I don't have to lock my car. If the person with the keys is the last person to close the door and walk away from the car, it just locks itself. And the windows fold in when it locks, so I can tell if it locks. Like if I go inside and I'm like, oh, did that lock? I can look out the window and I can just see if my car's locked. It's magical. I'm obsessed.
And mine doesn't do that, but it's got the little touchpad on the door handle, so I've got my hands full. I just put the back of my hand on it. It's great. I don't have to go diving for my key. Having I guess keyless entry, fantastic feature. I'm obsessed with it. I love not needing to whip out my key just to open up the car. Fantastic.
I love the push button start. I love not having to like actually have my keys.
I don't like the push button start. I don't like, because I'm so used to like needing to turn it over. Because this is my first car. I take that back. Prius had a push to start, but this is the first car that I've like consistently driven that needed the push start. And so I don't trust, like, oh my gosh, what if I'm having a hard time turning it over? Do I just push it harder?
You just push and hold it the same way you would like turn and hold your regular key. You've had this car for so long and you still like aren't used to it?
No, I'm used to it now. But I still like the sensation of turning a car over and not needing to push the button. But that's just, I digress.
It was so nice when I like went and got my car. I was like, especially because when I got my when I got Ricky, she was what 6 years old when I got her. So like she didn't have Bluetooth. It didn't have like heated seats, which again, for some people, is frivolous. I will admit, it is a little bit frivolous, and I love it. But she was just kind of like basic, bare bones, regular key, not push to start. Seat movement was manual. Most things were manual. And so, like, when I got this new car, I was like, it's been so long. Like, I got it in 2024. I was like, it's been so long since my car was made. It's even been so long since I bought it. Like, even buying a used car, I'm gonna have something that's like so insanely nice. And I was like, oh my God, I'm never gonna have to like pull my keys out again. My keys be floating. Alex has my keys a lot because I make him drive. I love not having to like I don't even have to hit the button on my keys to unlock my car. I just hit the button on the door to unlock my car. It's so nice.
I don't even have a button on Basil. You can just put your hand in the handle and it unlocks. The best thing ever.
Yeah, my mom's car is like that, and I just always have such a hard time like unlocking it and locking. I just don't know the right places to put my hands. But mine, I just got my little button. It's so nice. Like when I was getting rental cars for work, like I drove the gamut. I had a bright blue, like teal Chevy Traverse that I drove in California. I had a Cadillac SUV that I drove in California that broke down and I had to replace with the teal Chevy Traverse. I drove lots of Hyundai Konas, drove a couple Jeeps. I drove lots of things. I drove a Toyota RAV4. But once I got to the level where I could consistently get a Mazda CX-5, I would consistently get a Mazda CX-5. I know I got the right car for me. I've tried them all at this point. This is my car. This is what I want. This is what I have. It was such a good choice.
You're going to have that car or that type of car basically until you die at this point.
No, not necessarily. It could change. I loved a RAV4 until I got Elizabeth, so maybe I'll go back. By the time that I get a new car, like it's all going to be totally different. Cuz I am a drive it till it dies kind of girl. I'm not going to be out here trading in my cars every few years. Oh, I got to have a nice and a new. I'm settling in.
I plan on passing down Basil to whoever comes next. Basil is mine until there is a genuine issue, or I don't think I'll ever grow out of her. I'm obsessed with her. But with all that being said, I will take over eventually on this episode about all of the cars that I can't stand. So before I go into this deep, dark rant, do you want to mention any cars that you do not like for any reason?
I don't like a Hyundai Tucson. I don't like a Hyundai Tucson. A Hyundai Tucson, which I've driven before multiple times. Actually, that was the first car that we had when we came out to visit Charlotte for the weekend to figure out where we wanted to live. We had a Hyundai Tucson as our rental car, and they just feel like they're made of plastic. I don't know what it is about them. They just feel like they're made of plastic. It is the weirdest thing. I kind of like a Hyundai Kona. I don't love a Hyundai Kona. Probably wouldn't buy one, but they're kind of fun to drive. But you have to be careful because if you're in like a high traffic area, we had one in Boston.
It beeps at everything.
Oh my God, no, it's even worse than that. So we were down in Boston and we were down in Back Bay, which is like a really dense part of like an old dense part of Boston. And we were parallel parked on the street and we're trying to get back out and there's traffic. And we thought we hit something because the car decided that there was like a lane line or a car or something and it just stopped us. And like, we can't get out of the parking spot. It was like acting kind of like a Waymo. And I'm like, I did not sign up for this. You don't even want to give me Waymos. I hate Waymos. And we will get to Waymos later. But Waymo and I are beefing. And Waymo has come to Charlotte. And if you know one thing about Waymos, it is that they are mostly used going to and from airports. Also bars, but mostly airports. And we live directly in between the Waymo lot and the airport. And people can't drive in Charlotte on a good day, but that's an entirely different conversation. But people can't drive in Charlotte. Worst drivers I've ever seen. And now you're going to throw Waymos into the mix? Waymo and I be beefing.
I can't stand Waymos at all. I think a fully self-driving car only works in a society with only self-driving cars.
Yes.
It cannot function in a high dense area like Los Angeles. Oh my God. The amount of construction and private property that Waymos have been driving into, get stuck, can't figure out where to go. But then the Waymos have a remote driver to fix a situation where the car gets stuck. That's wild.
I've never heard of this.
That's recently insane. Came out that there is a hub for Waymos for takeover drivers. It is a remote driving service where they will like remote control into the car to get the car out of a potentially dangerous situation, which great that exists to get the car out of the situation. Why did it get there in the first place? 1, 2, where are they located and are they even licensed to drive in the US?
No, none of the above. Waymos should never have been cleared to be released, much less in the number of places that they are. I first encountered Waymos at the airport in Phoenix, and I about had a heart attack. I was already having a day. I was 8 hours late to Phoenix for my new job. And then as I'm standing there waiting to get picked up by my Lyft because I choose to be driven by real people, there's all these like driverless cars. I'm getting a message that like my boss that I'm supposed to be meeting isn't even there and I'm meeting some random man named Ben. Wild. I was not having a time.
Shout out Ben.
Shout out Ben. But I was having a time and I'm like seeing these cars. I'm like, this cannot be real. And I have never had to drive anywhere where there are Waymos before. I didn't have to drive in Phoenix. Once again, shout out Ben. I did not have to drive. I guess I've technically driven in Los Angeles, but there weren't any Waymos around. I've never been like down by LAX or anything. I don't drive. They weren't in Austin when I've been in Austin.
They were in Austin while I lived there. There were so many when I lived there.
They weren't around me. Like I didn't encounter them when I was there. They are in Austin. They accidentally blocked an ambulance going to the scene of a shooting in Austin like 3 weeks ago. They're a disaster. And the problem is you're like, yeah, self-driving cars work if every car is self-driving. Except that's also not true, because have you ever seen a Waymo encounter another Waymo? I saw a video the other day. So Waymo's turning a corner on a street that has parking on both sides, but it's a two-way street. Waymo's turning, sees another Waymo, gets confused. This Waymo backs up, but it's like halfway into a parallel spot. So the other Waymo can't get past it. So the other Waymo goes up. Then that Waymo comes back. This Waymo comes back up to the stop sign. A regular car pulls up behind this first Waymo. This Waymo starts trying to back up. This car starts trying to back up. A third Waymo comes up behind the regular car. This Waymo still can't turn the corner. Eventually, this Waymo turns the corner while this Waymo is at the stop sign, and this Waymo goes from the stop sign while this Waymo is turning the corner, like regular freaking cars. But it took an extra, like 4 minutes. That shouldn't. I'm just like, I hate these things. And again, nobody in Charlotte can drive. Like, the things that I have seen people do. Alex, today he called me. He was driving somewhere. He called me. He goes, you will not believe what I just saw. I'm on the highway, and there's a BMW just driving directly at me. Like, the number of times that I have seen cars driving the wrong direction on the road here is actually insane. And, like, you might be able to be like, oh my God, it's not real. Like people really from Charlotte, like, it's the transplants. And, like, that may be. But I've also driven in Austin and Denver and other high transplant cities. And I have not seen this same kind of driving. And all the transplants here are coming from all these other places. And I've driven in all those other places, and everything's fine. Like, I've driven in other parts of North Carolina, and people can drive there. I don't know what it is. There might just be too many South Carolinians here. And I don't know. Maybe they can drive. Maybe I'm just, like, projecting. I don't know. I've never been there. Shout out to my neighbor peeps. But, like, people cannot drive here. And you want to throw Waymos into the mix?
No, it's so stupid.
Oh my God.
I'm not self-driving cars eventually are the future. It is not today. It is not today. Eventually will be the future. But the only form of self-driving that I can get behind is adaptive cruise control. I'm a big fan of adaptive cruise control.
I love adaptive cruise control, but I can't use it too often though, because then when I don't have to think about using my feet, I kind of forget to think about using anything else. And I'm like, wait a minute, I still have to like steer and pay attention, and like I might have to hit the brakes. And so I try not to use it too much because it could be bad. Because this only knows how to think about all the things when you're driving. If you stop thinking about one thing, you're not driving anymore. You don't have to think about any of it.
Yeah. But yeah, no, the only form of self-driving that I can get behind is adaptive cruise control. And for viewers out there that have never heard of adaptive cruise control, it is simply where your car can set a distance between you and the car ahead of you. And you have to set the speed. But so say, example, the speed, you're on the highway, you're going 65 on the highway, and the car in front of you is going 62. Well, you set the space between you and the car in front of you, and then it's matching the speed of the car in front of you up to 65 miles an hour. So,
and that's the adaptive part.
That's
of
the adaptive part.
Cruise control. Original cruise control, which is what Ricky had, did not do that. She just went a certain speed, and she had a hard time with cruise control. She started to rattle a little bit.
But so you still have to have full control of the steering wheel. You still have to be paying attention to your surroundings, versus Tesla self-driving features of you can have hands off the steering wheel, feet off the pedals, and it will take you on directions where you want to go, and it will make the lane changes for you. It'll stop at stoplights, fully automatic, but you still have to be in control of the car. It will like it'll jerk you. It'll be beeping, flashing if you don't have constant pressure on the steering wheel. I know that there's also some safety features with the cameras in the car that if you're not looking forward, it will turn off the self-driving because you should be aware of all of your surroundings. I could have that part wrong, but the rest of it, because we do have a Tesla, I've used the self-driving feature before. It's not a fun time.
And I've been in the car with you when you did it. It's trippy.
It's not a fun time.
It's trippy. I hate driving as much as the next girly, right? Like, if you put me out on, like out in the country, nobody's around, I'm driving 2 lanes by myself, I'm chilling, that's fine. But, like, if you want me out and about with the public, if you want me in, like, a city, if you want me on a 7 lanes each way highway, no thank you.
Yeah.
But also, wouldn't those situations be worse if I'm in a car that's not being driven by a person? And then, like, in Waymos, you can't sit in the driver's seat. So like if there is something happening, you can't take over, which is insane to me.
So stupid.
I hate a Waymo. Like conceptually, I would love to never have to drive again, right? And that's actually why I have a boyfriend, not because I love him or anything. That's not true. I do love him. He's great. And part of why he's great is because he drives most of the time.
Maggie is the only certified passenger princess I have ever met in my entire life. Actually, I take that back. You and my sister are the two passenger princesses that I have ever come in contact with in my life.
I'm more of like a passenger queen or a passenger dictator or like a passion. I don't think I'm quite a passenger jester. I might be more of a passenger parliamentarian. It's my freaking car. It's my car. So there's that. And also I'm navigating. Most of the time I'm deciding where we're going. I'm making sure the dog is not climbing up in the front seat, or if the dog is climbing up in the front seat, I'm letting her sit in my lap. I'm making sure she has water. I'm making sure we all have snacks. I am DJing. I am leading the conversation. I am paying just as much attention to the road as the driver is, which is not a good thing sometimes because some of the roads here in Charlotte, insane. There are places where like we go regularly and there's like a 5-10 minute stretch of the drive where I have to be reading a book, I have to be on my phone, I have to be looking, like I cannot watch the road because the way that the traffic is going and the way that Alex is driving, like I know that we're going to be fine, but I can't be sitting here thinking about it because it's stressing me out.
I envy your ability to read in the car and look at your phone because we've talked about this previously that I get so motion sick. I have to be the person driving.
You have little dots on your phone.
I've got the dots on my phone and everything. I have to be the person driving. I get so car sick otherwise. But also a huge contribution to getting car sick, even if I'm sitting in the back seat. What happened to putting proper ACs in the back seats of cars? What happened to that?
That's
like the tiny little air vent in the front doesn't do anything. What happened to the big vents in the roof or even the ones on the side? Bring back ACs in the back seat.
They have them now, but they're like in the middle. Like it used to not be super common, and then they started putting them in the ceiling, but that was only in like big mom cars. So like a Navigator, Explorer, Expedition.
But even in my dad's crunchy car and the BMW and the Prius had backseat ACs, the little fan in the front, and they had the fans on the side. What happened to fans in cars and ACs in back seats? Like I can't get into a normal car in the back seat. I need to crack the window. I need to breathe. I need that airflow. Anyways, I digress. I don't know which I hate more, Waymos or Cybertrucks. And I hate Cybertrucks for aesthetics. It is the ugliest thing I've ever seen in my life.
I know which I hate more. I hate Waymos more. I hate Cybertrucks because they're hideous. And the part of town that we lived in when we first moved here, because they got not came out, but like they got released and like people actually had them not long after we moved here, and there were like 3 or 4 in our general vicinity, and I saw them all the time, and they're hideous and I hate them, and I think somebody at our current apartment complex drives one, and they're hideous and I hate them, and I think that they are crap quality cars. I think most Teslas are crap quality cars for a few different reasons, but I think Cybertrucks specifically are crap quality cars, but at least they're driven by people, and at least there are people in the driver's seat to take over if the like self-driving isn't doing something right. I hate Waymos because they're dangerous. I hate Waymos because they can't drive. And
I just don't know which is a stronger hatred. My hatred for Cybertrucks as an aesthetic car, or my hatred for Waymos as just a concept. Because again, soon self-driving is the future. It is not today. But my beef with Cybertrucks, car doesn't look good either. It looks so stupid. Anyways, the only redeeming quality that I'm going to give a Cybertruck, there is a creator on TikTok she has a disability. I cannot remember the name of it. Essentially, she has the absolute bare minimum strength in her upper body. She cannot grip
I know
things
who you're talking about.
properly. She cannot grip things properly. She cannot sense things properly in her hands. And she tests a lot of products for accessibility purposes. The Cybertruck is the only car on the market that has an adaptive driving feature built in. So it is the only car that she has full autonomy with. That is the only redeeming quality I am giving a Cybertruck. It is hideous. It is horribly made. It doesn't even truck. It's just a car with space. It does not truck well. I have seen so many videos of Cybertrucks getting stuck in the snow and then getting towed by a Corolla. Yeah, I don't understand the body modification car junkie group. Everybody's got their hobbies. Thank goodness that people have their hobbies. So long as you're being safe, so long as you are taking care of yourself, your community, the people around you, if you're being safe, I've got no judgment. I don't get it. It's not for me. That's okay. But I do want to know, please, car junkies, what is the purpose of making a car louder in a residential area? You're just being annoying.
That's the purpose.
You're just looking for attention. I care about my sleep. Don't be drag racing on my street. But because people do that, please don't drag race on my street. It's a residential area. Please do not. It's stupid. People get hurt. Don't do it. We're in a residential neighborhood, and yeah, it's a straight mile with stop signs for a reason. So please abide by the law. Please be safe out there. Please be safe in driving. Please pay attention. Please do not text and drive. Please do not be on your phone while driving. If you're listening to us in the car today, I really hope that you told your Siri to pull up this podcast and listen to it in the car drive, or you set it up as you were parked. Please don't be on your phone while driving.
Yeah, don't use your phone while driving. There's plenty of reasons and plenty of ways to not do that these days. Don't do dumb stuff. Don't do dumb stuff. Don't be on your phone in the car. Don't drink and drive.
If you drink and drive, we're no
If you do,
friends.
I'll take you out. If you do, I'll take you out. Like not like
there's
not like
no
on
excuse.
A date. Like out of
existence. We've had Ubers and Lyfts for over 10 years, and we now have Waymos. As much as we hate Waymos, I'd rather you take a Waymo than drink and drive.
Waymo's better than a drunk driver, probably.
Waymo is 1,000,000% better than a drunk driver. Please, if you are listening to this and you know me IRL, if you drink and drive, we are no longer friends. Please be safe. Make sure you follow us on TikTok and Instagram. Can I be mean for a sec pod? Check us out on YouTube if you want to see this video live, and we will see you next week. And
you can see us on Spotify, and you can listen audio only on Apple Podcasts. I want to hear your thoughts on cars. I also don't want to hear your thoughts on cars. Have a day.
Have a day. See you next week.
Bye.